Hello friends, and welcome back to our little coffee club. Today we're gonna get right to it, man, because you saw what happened last time. I started pulling shots, things started to happen, and before you knew it, I had been recording for an hour and I never got to open the little special coffee that I brought back from the heart of Amsterdam, right from the DAK showroom. And definitely this is one of the coffees that I've been looking forward to the most. Now, I believe this is the most expensive coffee I've ever bought here on the channel, and this coffee ends up being somewhere around 30 cents a gram. Okay, I didn't realize this yet, but this little tin has only 60 grams in it. I was under the assumption that it was 100 grams. So I don't know this yet, I will find out in a little bit, but this coffee is more like 50 cents a gram. So a pound of this coffee would have been $226. So by far the most expensive coffee I've ever had here on the channel. Okay, so if you were to buy a pound of this, well, do the math. It's gonna be well over $100. And yeah, I think that makes it the most expensive coffee that I've bought here on the channel. Now, I remember way back in the videos, Jesse and myself having a conversation as to some of the very high-end and expensive coffees that, you know, it gets to the point that it's kind of like diminishing returns. You're not gonna get like, as a matter of fact, it might not even be as good as some other coffee that's a lot cheaper. Because at that point, what you're mainly paying for is how rare that coffee is. Okay, so, you know, a lot of what it's involved, I guess, as to the price of the coffee is the rarity. So this coffee is grown probably at altitude. It comes from Panama. You know, it's probably somewhat rare of a coffee, and therefore it makes it a lot more expensive. Not the fact that it's gonna blow you away with some kind of crazy flavor, right? So now DAK has a very creative way of naming their coffees, and the name a lot of time gives away some of the tasting notes. In this case, it's called Blackberry Fields, as you could see there. I don't know what the other tasting notes are, have no clue, but I imagine Blackberry is gonna be the main one. So we'll see if I can detect that or if I get something else. Now, I do recall this coffee being a Panama Geisha, so I know that much, and it's part of the reason why I picked it up. Now, I think at the time of me purchasing this coffee, I had never had Panama Geisha, I believe. I don't remember, I said it I think already in the last video, I don't remember if the one I had at Vice City Bean here in Miami when I visited recently, I don't remember if that was a Panama Geisha. I don't think so. I know it was a very high-end, very special coffee that I tasted that day, and yeah, it was wonderful, but I don't think it was Panama Geisha. But as of my visit to Amsterdam, and being that specialty coffee is everywhere in Amsterdam, I had Panama Geisha more than once. I had it at DAK, I had it at Fuku, and you know, if you searched around town, you would run into like very high-end coffees all over the place. So far, from all the places I've been, Amsterdam is by far the place with the most density of specialty coffee. Like, yeah, wow, you just find specialty coffee everywhere. So yeah, it was a great visit and we had a great time. Now, this is the last coffee that I still need to open and taste and give you my assessment as to the coffee. You know, geishas are known for their tea-like qualities. They're not very punchy coffees, and I love punchy coffees. So I have a feeling from the three coffees that I brought back from Amsterdam, this is probably gonna be my least favorite, okay? So I am aware of that and I know that. But if you are one of these people that want something very clean, I imagine this being just a washed coffee and very clean. And if you like those tea-like qualities, this could be perfect for you. So another thing that I maybe want to get into in this video, I want to show you guys, recently I brewed my favorite of the two Manhattan coffees, at least as filtered, because the Manhattan coffees, the one that I like the most for filtered was not the one that I like the most for espresso. You know, as a matter of fact, today maybe we'll pull a shot of the Anderson Farias, which was my favorite one for espresso and one of the best espressos I've made the whole entire year. That coffee is wonderful for espresso. It's a little bit more developed and it shows in the taste, and it's what I like in espresso. It gave me just what I like. The Ivan Solis is the one that it's a little bit less developed, a little bit lighter, and I liked it more as a filtered. So I recently compared the two Manhattan coffees back to back, and definitely the Ivan Solis, as far as filtered, is the one that I prefer. Then after that, I compared the Ivan Solis versus the one from Fried Hats, the Kenyan coffee from Fried Hats. And that's what I want to show you guys today. I want to include some clips later on in the video, or maybe we just include that part here now. Yeah, maybe I'll just include that right here, right now. Okay, before I start brewing, I want to show you the dry coffee and what it looks like. This is the Ivan Solis right here. To the eye, the Ivan Solis to me seems to have a little bit redder tone, and the one from Fried Hats, the Kenyan, bring that over. The Kenyan seems to have a little bit more of a like brown tint to the coffee itself. Not sure if that's gonna show on the video here, but to the eye, that's like what it looks like. If you put them side by side, the problem is that the lighting won't be the same, and then it's always one looks darker than the other, where to me, to the naked eye, they look practically the same. If anything, I would say maybe this one, the one from Fried Hats, the Kenyan, is just this, well, I don't know, it's too hard to say, but I would say if I was hard pressed, I would say that the Kenyan is a little bit more developed, just slightly, a little bit more. And this one is a little bit lighter. But yeah, that's what the two coffees look like, just dry before I start brewing them. Okay, so I'm about to compare. It's just an average morning, but I did want to get this comparison for you guys to include it in another video. This is the Ivan Solis from Manhattan versus the Kenyan from Fried Hats. You know, you guys saw that when I compared the Kenyan from Fried Hats to the Kenyan from Hinterhof, it was a tie. It was a straight up tie. Let me get the bag. Give me a second. Okay, there it is. So these two coffees, I mean, it was just too close and it was too close to call it. I just called it a tie. They were both the same. Okay, then another day, I wish I would have gotten a clip for you guys. I did not. I believe I didn't record anything that day, but it was just, I've been doing these comparisons just on like, an average morning, just to kind of see if, which coffee I like more, so that then at the end I can maybe with you guys compare everything that I've had this year so far. I already compared the Kenyan coffees. I compared the Manhattan coffees, although I didn't record it. I believe I didn't record anything, but I did compare them. And I've said it already several times in the videos that the Ivan Solis I like better as filter coffee, and the Anelson I liked it better as espresso. The very last time that I compared them, I did a head-to-head comparison, just like I'm about to do now. And definitely as filter coffee, the Ivan Solis I like a little bit better because of the level of acidity and the presentation of the acidity. The Anelson is a little bit more developed of a roast. Maybe because it's anaerobic, I'm not sure. But all I know is that the Anelson I liked better as espresso, and that held true every single time. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best espressos I've done this year, came from that bag of coffee. So depends what you want to do with it. But since my comparison for my favorite coffee of the year, I would say like overall, which coffee I liked overall better. If I was hard pressed here, I would still pick the Ivan Solis as overall winning by a slight margin over the Anelson. So, all right, so we got today I'm gonna compare the best of the Manhattan coffees, the Ivan Solis, versus, with the Kenyans, it was a straight up tie. Yeah, with the Kenyans, it was a straight up tie, but yeah, since it's a tie, I'm just gonna, and I ran out of the Hinterhof. I am going to compare the Fried Hats versus the Manhattan, the Ivan Solis. All right, let's see if I can get a little bit of the final drawdown of the two coffees. I usually do 30 grams circle to 30 grams center. Here you see the Ivan Solis. And that's the Kenyan from Fried Hats. Did that one finish? Yeah, it's still dripping a little bit, but I'm about to call that one. That one's gonna finish first. Still dripping quite a bit, but it's dry on top. You can see it there. Yeah, that one's perfectly dry on top. It's still dripping. Let's call it at 3:15. 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Still dripping just slightly, but we'll call it 3:15. This one is still a little bit wet on top. That one's still finishing. And the timing, wow, almost the same. Okay, that one's barely dripping. I think I'm gonna call it. Let's see. It's completely dry on top. All right, let's call this one 3:15 also. So I'm gonna call them both 3:15, same timing. Grind size was 55 on the dual. Again, all my filter coffee I've been doing on the dual. I'm not sure if you could see it there, but grind size 55. There you see it, 3 pours, 180 grams out, and it finished in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. It should be ideal for these coffees. So let me taste them and give you my opinion. Okay, one more thing I wanna say is that maybe perhaps if you really like coffees with a tea-like quality, okay, tea-like quality is very important to you. Maybe you would go with the Manhattan because this one's fruitier, just equally, I mean, they're both equally nice. It's hard to pick one over the other, but definitely I would say that the Kenyan it's got more like fruitier qualities. This one has a little bit more tea-like, more like floral, that kind of qualities. You'll find that a little bit more on the Manhattan. So that's one last thing I wanted to mention. So this one a little bit fruitier, this one a little bit more tea-like, both equally wonderful. Okay, so as you can see from, it was just too hard to decide. It was too hard to decide on that day. And it didn't matter if I would have compared the Fried Hats Kenyan or the Hinterhoff Kenyan. When I compare those two back to back, which you guys should have already have seen here on the videos, again, that was too hard to call, and I just said it was a tie. And in this case, also the same thing happened. That although the flavor was quite different, the coffees did not taste the same, but they were both equally wonderful, and it was just too hard to decide. The Manhattan coffees definitely got an unfair shake from me when I first reviewed them, because I should have allowed them to, to age a little bit more. Maybe start brewing them after like a month and a half, like 6 weeks or something. Because right now those coffees are tasting better than when I first opened them. So yeah, wow. It's been very difficult to decide as to like a favorite coffee, something that really stands out this year, because everything I've had has been so high end and so great. At this point, that's why I keep saying that maybe I'm becoming like a little bit of a coffee snob, one of these people that, because you have to get that picky. You have to get, to pick something of this kind of quality, to pick something versus something else of equal quality and just wonderful roasters, it just becomes very, very difficult. So to find that standout one so far, I would say is the Coco Bongo from DAK, which you guys saw me review that a couple videos back. But it's a little bit of an unfair kind of thing because that's a co-ferment. And usually co-ferments have not been my favorite coffees. But this one, I didn't even expect it to be a co-ferment. It had no funkiness to it. And yes, it was very unusual. And that's the thing I liked about it, because it was so unique, just like the Milky Cake. The Milky Cake was also from DAK, and that one was not a co-ferment, but yet it did have like a fermentation, but it wasn't a co-ferment. But wow, also very unique, just standout coffee. And that was the one that was my favorite last year. This year, I don't know. Once I finish trying to figure out what I like the most of all of these clean coffees, I will probably compare it against the Coco Bongo and see what my favorite overall so far is this year. I've been trying to keep an eye on all the coffees I've been trying. I think maybe I'll compare, if I like this one, if I don't even like this one, why compare it to the Coco Bongo, which I know I loved it. But if I really like this one, maybe I'll compare the two DAK coffees and kind of like do this as like a little tournament as we go through the year and who moves forward and what I like best. Try to keep an eye on my favorite coffees. I am taking notes and keeping track of everything, so we'll see. But anyway, let's get this open and take a look at the roast level. That's where we always start. I'm gonna make filter coffee with this, and then depending how things go, perhaps we'll pull a shot of espresso as well. So this one comes in a little tin. So I really loved it because this is something that I will keep, just like this, and maybe put it on display later. I imagine one day, I'm hoping that I will have maybe some kind of way of displaying some of my coffee gear and some of my coffee stuff. But yeah, it has a seal on it, so I'm gonna have to cut this. Yeah, I don't think, maybe it's cleaner if I just do a little cut. Give me a second. All right, so just like that, this video probably is about 20 minutes long already, because if I included the clips of the coffee I brewed the other day, it was a regular, just a run-of-the-mill brew session for me. It wasn't like something I set up to record like this. It was just a regular morning for me. And but I did want to get a little bit of this head-to-head comparison, and you guys saw it was just too hard to call. Lately, all these coffees are just so wonderful. It's very difficult to nitpick and see what you like more than something else. So, all right, so I did a little cut. I want to keep everything looking nice and aesthetic. Wow, right away, I'm surprised. This is a lot darker than I expected. At least it seems to be. The fragrance is very clean. Wow, this even smells a little more developed than I was expecting. I'm very surprised. Let me put it here on the counter, turn on all the lights and get a better look at it. And yeah, see what you guys think. I'll put a picture of it here. All right, so I'm not sure what you guys think. It is still quite light. It is definitely like a medium light, but I expected to see it even lighter than this, but we'll see. We'll see what we get as far as flavor. So the first thing I'm gonna do is dose out 12 grams. I'm gonna do my usual amount when I wanna make both filter and espresso. I'll do only 12 grams, so then I can pull a shot. 12 grams in and 180 grams out, so a 1:15 ratio. I'm gonna have water temperature, maybe 97 is kind of like a go-to for me. So yeah, water temperature 97, 12 grams in, 180 out, 3 pours on the origami, 3 pours of 60 gram each. I usually start 30 circle to 30 center, and that's kind of the pouring structure. So let's weigh out 12 grams. As you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Geisha coffee beans are kind of elongated and kind of large. They're not they're not these tiny little beans like sometimes they're tiny. These are kind of bigger. Okay, so that's 12.1. I'm gonna go with that. We'll see. I'm gonna grind it on the duo. What should we do as far as grind size? I have it set now for 55. That's usually a good starting point. I mean, for 12 grams, I want to probably get, with this light of a roast, I want to get maybe 3 minutes, a 3-minute brew time. So yeah, maybe we'll start there, 55, and I'll try to control the timing with the agitation. So if it's going kind of slow, I'll do less agitation. If it's going kind of fast, we'll do more agitation and kind of control it that way if we can. So let's go ahead and do grind our 12 grams. Let me set this up like this. Usually you can still kind of see the numbers on the scale there. So we got 12.1, grind size is 55. $12 grams takes only what, like 3 seconds to grind? It's crazy. Tap the spout a little bit, did a little bellows. All right, so 12.1, same thing we put in, same thing we got out. Let me set up the angles and we'll get to brewing. All right, every time I have to set up all these cameras and stuff for this setup, I have the tripod in the way, and it's very difficult to to do this, but it is worth it. Having the two angles is definitely you know, a good thing for the videos. It does add a bunch of interest. All right, let me see if I can do the rinse. I do like rinsing the paper, warming up the glass. And when I do this 12 grams, I brew right into the glass that I drink from. I don't use the carafe. But yeah, I want the filter to stick to the walls of the brewer. That's one of the main things why I do this. And I do like rinsing the glass and warming it up. Okay, I think I have everything set up and ready to go. Let's reweigh this. I should have my 12 grams here. Okay, there you see it. Now it's reading a little bit more, but that's because all of this stuff is sitting on there, so. That shouldn't make a difference, but it usually does. So now it's back to 12.1 where it should have been. All right, so I have my water at 97. Let's tear the scale. Again, we're looking for 3 minutes. So let's go ahead and start the process. So 30 circle to 30 center for the first 60 grams. That usually will take about 20 seconds or so. Okay, we go to another 60 grams, 30 circle to 30 center to 120. Just went a little bit over. Give it a little swirl. So agitation will always slow down your brew. So, and you know what? I think this was already going a little bit slow. Maybe I should have not even done any agitation. But we'll see. What matters is the flavor. So, but we'll see if we can hit the 3 minutes. All right, let's go with the last 60 grams. So now we go to 150. Let's wash off the sides. And then the last 30 center. Okay, and we finish at 180. I'm done with the kettle. One last swirl to flatten it out. Now we wait and see. We need to get about another minute and a half out of that to be in the ballpark. I wanted to adjust the exposure on the on the overhead shot, and I think I should have not done that because right in the middle of everything, but it's all right, it should work. All right, so can we get another 50 seconds out of that? We'll see. I think it's gonna be pretty darn close. So the agitation was okay. And the grind size looks like it was okay. So 55 for this coffee. And then based on the flavor, we adjust from there, right? If it has a lot of acidity, not enough on the sweetness, we want to brew it longer. If it has maybe a lot of sweetness, but none of the upfront acidity, then you want to go faster, usually is what happens. Okay, I'm about to call it, but it's still wet on top. It's dripping very slowly. No, so it looks like my assessment about going over the 3 minutes, I was correct. It's gonna go over 3 minutes because the final drawdown has taken quite a while. It's totally dry on top now. Last few drips. I'm gonna call it at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So overall, 20 seconds over on filter coffee makes almost no difference. I mean, it should be fine. In espresso, that's a huge difference. But in filter coffee, 15, 20 seconds is not that much of a big deal. It could be, depending on the coffee, especially if you're brewing something dark and harsh, you could over extract it. And something light like this is, in my experience, is like, it's really hard to over extract it. So you're a lot more likely to get a bunch of acidity, like too much acidity and sourness, than to over extract it and get into that bitterness. So, all right, so that's it. Let me set up for the next shot, and then I'll catch up with you guys in 1 second. Okay, so whenever you brew right into the cup you're gonna drink from, the process takes about 3 minutes. So then you wanna kind of give it a stir. You wanna incorporate everything. All right, man. Okay, although I'm very excited to try this coffee, I'm telling you, and I think I already said it, I mentioned it, that I don't think this is gonna be my favorite one. I think I'm gonna like the Coco Bongo better because of the weirdness of it, okay? And I know most of you guys, if you're a purist as to all this coffee tasting and your coffee hobby, then you would probably disagree with me and probably like this one more. So, but let's see, that's what I'm thinking, but I could be all wrong. And you know what? I just noticed if I'm gonna pull a shot of espresso of the Anelsen, I need my espresso machine set at 95. So let's get into that. All right, let me show you guys how to change the temperature on Al Elite Bianca. If you're already on Al Elite Bianca, then you know how to do that. But if you're not, let me show you. Yeah, the coffee's really hot still anyway, so we have a few seconds. I wanna get my machine up to temperatures. Okay, so basically you're gonna hit the minus button, and that's gonna get you into the menus, and you can toggle, as you could see there, every time you press down on the minus, you get a different menu. And this is all your different menus that you can change. The very first one, the brew temperature, the boiler brew temperature, which is this one. So you hit plus and it starts blinking, and now you can change it. Usually I have it at 95 for my lighter roasted coffees and the Slayer shots that I usually do. So, one over. Okay, so leave it at 95. Now you just let it go and it locks in the new setting, and then the machine will heat up to 95, and then we can pull our shot. So let's go back and taste the coffee. Yeah, definitely one of the cool things about the Bianca is how easy it is to change the settings that you mostly need to get into, right? There is also a service menu where you have even more access, and you could do other things that I've never felt the need to get in there and do anything. But that does exist, and there are more settings that you can play with as well. All right, so let's give this a taste. Cheers. Okay, as far as the fragrance, so the dry smell of the coffee, I said it. It was just perfectly clean. I wasn't getting anything that blew me away either, like nothing special. Just normal, clean, nice scent, And as far as the aroma, so the wet smell, same kind of thing. It's what you expect, clean. There is some floral aspect to it. Yeah, some like tea-like floral aspect. Smells wonderful. So both the fragrance and the aroma are great. Again, that's why I'm saying that it's just so hard to pick between all these coffees I've been having this year. I've been having the best of the best. Therefore, when I tried the Nicoletti, I went into shock, and it had an adverse effect on me. That coffee, maybe I found it to be like so off-putting, maybe because I went from having some of the best coffees in the world to that, and it's, especially since I don't brew that much dark roast coffee. But even, it's just the taste profile was not good, man. Because I do make dark roast coffee for milk drinks all the time. And that flavor that Nicoletti had, that's just weird. Okay, anyway, let's try this. Cheers. Wow, it is great. It is, man, another beautiful coffee. This year has been like something else. It started with the Hinterhoff, that Kenyan, that if you haven't had a Kenyan coffee, I've said this already several times in the videos, get out there and buy a Kenyan. They're spectacular this year. The one from Hinterhoff was wonderful. Then I brought back the one from Fried Hats, and that was great, spectacular. Both were equal, and I just couldn't decide between the two. They were both equally wonderful. The two Manhattan coffees, again, also spectacular. I would say that they could not compete with the Kenyan as far as if they had to win in both filter and espresso, okay? Because the Ivan Solis could compete in filtered, and the Anderson Farias could compete in espresso, but neither one could do both equally as good as the Kenyans. So if I explained that properly, I think I did. I think that I've said this already many times on the videos. This coffee right now as filter coffee, I gotta say, it's spectacular. It's really another really awesome coffee. Okay, let's nitpick. Let's be very picky. It's not as punchy as the Kenyan. So could this beat the Kenyan? I don't know. It depends. It's up to you. If you like the pickiness and something a little bit more punchy, maybe not. Like myself, I think I would prefer the Kenyans, but that's what I was thinking when I tried the Fried Hats versus, and that's the reason why I did that head-to-head that I showed you guys, because I expected the Kenyan to win over the one from Manhattan, but it didn't. It was too hard. They tasted totally different, but it was too hard to pick a winner. They were both equally wonderful. So maybe the same thing. Maybe that's what I should do. Well, no, you know what? I'm gonna try this versus the Coco Bongo one of these mornings and see how much I can appreciate the uniqueness of the Coco Bongo versus this, or does the cleanness of this and the quality of this coffee come through and still wins over the other one? I don't know. This is some more, I'm gonna be having some more head-to-head comparisons in the mornings and maybe get a few snippets here and there to include into the longer videos, perhaps, because it's just too hard these coffees are all great. Wow, a lot of depth of flavor, a lot of fruity notes, some floral qualities. Again, tea-like, not extremely punchy, but it does have the nice upfront acidity that makes your mouth water. It does have it. And then it's perfectly balanced with the sweetness. You don't need any more, any less. The balance of this coffee is perfect. The depth of flavor is wonderful. It just has a lot. The upfront acidity and just makes your mouth water, very juicy. To me, it's all like, I would say it's all like berries, the sweet. Let me see what else I can get from it. And I know it's, it's suggested. So therefore, that's why I hate that they name the coffees like this, because then you're expecting to taste something. So then that's what you're tasting. It's better when you don't know anything and the coffee is called, just like the one from Fried Hats. It just said Kenya. And then, the door was wide open to guess at the notes. And I got that upfront berryness, and I said also some citrus, and I was spot on with that one. I did very well guessing at those tasty notes. Today, let me see if I can get anything else other than the berryness. Wow, what would I attribute the sweetness to? Wow. Hard to say. So fruity, berry-like. The sweetness, would I say, okay, I don't think I would say tropical fruit as far as the sweetness. I don't think I'm getting anything like in the citrus notes. Let me see. No. So the sweetness, I would say maybe more like honey. A honey sweetness, berryness, perfectly balanced, juicy up front, nice acidity, beautiful sweetness. It's another spectacular coffee. There's nothing like, I remember the one Nick sent me from the UK, that was a Geisha. This one's a little bit, I would say this one's a little bit punchier. It has a little bit more depth of flavor. Maybe I should, I don't know, I can only brew this like a few times. There's only, let me see, it's not even 100 grams. It's even more expensive than I thought. This is 60 grams, 60 grams. Wow, it's, man, what, you know, I will calculate how much this coffee would cost per pound and put it here on the screen, okay? This little tin was $30 at the showroom. So if you order it online or something, you have to pay for delivery and all that, and you would pay more. So yeah, this is, okay, at 60 grams, it's definitely the most expensive coffee I've ever tried here on the channel. And as far as the tasting notes, well, you heard what I said, and here we go. All right, so tasting notes, blackberry, so of course the berryness, but that was suggested. And then lavender. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to recognize lavender. I did say that there were some tea-like qualities and some florals like in the aroma. I would have never, I don't even know what lavender tastes like, I don't. So, and then it has the sugar note. You know, I said honey, but I could totally see it. If you go with the sugar note, yeah, because the sweetness is there. And again, I said I wouldn't call it like tropical fruit. Like sometimes I have said that, tropical fruit. And sometimes I've gone with the sugar note. Sometimes I go with the honey. This one I would have gone more with honey, but they said the sugar note. So I'm thinking, you know, did I do great? No, probably not. I didn't do horrible either. Let's see. Yeah, maybe sugar note is more accurate. So I'll try to remember these flavors. But yeah, so okay, blackberry, lavender, and sugar. This is another wonderful coffee. I will, you know, keep doing some of these head-to-head comparisons and report back to you guys moving forward on the videos. But so far this year, wow, I don't know, man. It's very difficult to decide. The Congo Bongo, is that like a fair or unfair? I don't know. Is that because it's a cold ferment? So I don't know. But, well, maybe it doesn't even win because these clean coffees are just so delicious. Is this washed? Let's see if it says anything in regards to being washed or what. The roast date was, it looks like April 4th. And as of me recording this, it's like, what is it, like early June or something. So a couple months. And you know, like I said on this, I think I said on this video that I think the Manhattan coffees for sure, I try to start them like too fast. I'm gonna have to wait at least like a month off roast sometimes to start tasting these coffees. The Manhattan coffee tastes better now than when I first opened the bags. It's crazy. So yeah. Wow, it was very fresh when I picked it up then. I've had it here for like a month. It just says limited edition and Panama Geisha from Hacienda La Esmeralda. So you guys heard of that farm before, La Esmeralda. It's very popular farm in Panama, producing some of the finest coffees in the world. But again, like Jesse and I, you know, the conversation we had at this point, at this level, you're just kind of paying for how rare it is or how little bit of, you know, this type of coffee there is and things like that. Not really for like being outstanding, although this is outstanding. But I'm sure, look at the Kenyan coffee was way cheaper. The one, the Hinterhoff and the other one, and they're just as good, okay? They're just as good as this. They're different, but they're just as good. You would be hard pressed to pick this over the Kenyans. Man, it would be fun to do this kind of experimentation with somebody else here that that's into the same hobby, that could give their opinion, and then we could share ideas back and forth. But anyway, the best we could do is in the comments. So leave me a comment. I answer everyone. Leave me a comment. I'll get back with you. What have you had this year that's been spectacular? What's been your favorite so far? Anyway, give me a second. We're gonna pull a shot of espresso to finish this video off, right? I know this is gonna be a long one. I've been chit-chatting for way too long. I'm also gonna include, or by now you saw it, the brew session from the other day when I was comparing the Manhattan versus the Kenyan from Fried Hats. And yeah, but let's go ahead. Let's pull a shot of espresso. Give me a second. All right, so now we're gonna pull an espresso from the Anderson Farias, which is, again, this is one of the most delicious espressos that I've done this year. This coffee is spectacular for espressos, a little bit more developed. Does it say something about being maybe a medium or? Probably on the website. On here, I don't think they write anything in the back. It's just, yeah, this is like the story of them and stuff. Well, it says roast filter. I'm surprised. So that would indicate being lighter than, but why don't I show it to you guys again? Because I would, well, when we grind it, I'll show it to you on the grinder, but to me, this looks a little bit more developed. It's an anaerobic natural, and wow, delicious for espresso. So let's go ahead, dose out 18 grams. Wow, this video is gonna end up being long, but yeah, today we're doing espresso. Man, this coffee is delicious, guys, like spectacular. Okay, let me lock in the focus and dose out our 18 grams. Man, the wealth of specialty coffee I've had this year. This has been, since I've been into this coffee hobby, this has definitely been the year where I've had the most like amount of like just spectacular coffee, like one beautiful coffee after the next. It's been fantastic. Okay, so 18 grams. Okay, a little bit over. Oh, there we go, 18.1. Okay, I adjusted. I think the last time we pulled a shot of this, we did grind size 14 on the zero, the niche zero. I adjusted it to 13 and a half because I haven't brewed it now for probably like a couple of weeks, and I always find myself grinding a little bit finer through time. So, and today, here's another cool thing that I want to do today. Today, we're doing a blooming espresso. So I kept saying that I got to start practicing the blooming shots because I do want to do that profile that Anton told me to try to replicate. So I want to try to do that. And yeah, I already mentioned that we have some new toys. Well, one toy is already, it's already here. It's already arrived. I'm not going to show it today, but yeah, be expecting some new fun videos coming up here on the channel soon. Let me set up the cameras. Oh no, first wait a minute. What am I talking about? I gotta grind this stuff. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have our 18 grams. Let's grind this. There you see the grind size, 13 and a half. Well, okay, I almost did the switch of these things again. And if I want to check retention, I have to grind into the same one because they do weigh different. Okay, so here's the roast level. You see, like what I'm saying is that usually in the middle of the beans, right, there's like, it's lighter. It's usually lighter. These beans look like a medium roast. They don't look that light. It says it's for filter, but I found this to be a lot better for espresso. The other one, the Ivan Solis has a lot more acidity and brightness, something that you would expect on a filter coffee. But this one, to me, is more developed, and you could even taste it. So I don't know, that's what they say, but I'm gonna stick with what I'm saying. What do you guys think? Did you see it? All right, let's grind it. Give you a look of the setup. Tap the spout. I always start it one more time. All right, let's see if we got our 18 grams. Scale. All right, so we might have gone a little bit, just a tad extra, or were we at 18.1? We might have been right at 18.1. So, all right, let's go ahead and do some puck prep. Man, the niche zero does not disappoint. So yeah, today we're definitely doing a blooming shot. So you guys will see the difference between a blooming espresso and a Slayer shot. You know, when I did this comparison before, and I've pulled blooming shots before, to me, they're very similar. It's practically the same thing. But you'll see the main reason why I don't like, I rather do Slayer shots than blooming shots is, well, first of all, I like to keep that flow, that slow flow. I kind of like it better. And if you do a blooming shot, you cannot use the automatic espresso function that I love using on my scale. So you'll see. Wow, that smells great. Let's fluff it up. Get some things out of the way here. Have too many things in the way. Okay, this is dry. I haven't pulled any shots today. Okay. Man, that does smell. Smells so good. This a fragrance to this coffee is punchier. Definitely, you just get more than with that Geisha I just had. That one's a lot more. It's a little bit more floral if you pay attention, but the smell is not as strong. This has more coffee, just beautiful, clean coffee smell. Let me bring you guys in a little bit closer for the WDT. Although you guys saw that this is, what is it, an anaerobic natural, right? I believe. Yeah, all of that comes through in the shot of espresso, believe me. It's just very flavorful, just really, really good. The acidity on this coffee is very under control. And as a matter of fact, if you do it as filter coffee, you're not gonna get almost any. I mean, it's hard to get a lot of acidity from it. And it's one of the things why I didn't like it as much as filtered, because when it comes to filter coffee, I really look forward to that juiciness and that acidity that just makes your mouth water. It's beautiful. Okay, that's beautiful puck prep. Take a look. Nice. Let's get a temp. Again, I'm gonna, for the most part, mostly do my regular temps, because the other style, which Ollie doesn't want me to call Italian style, it's that style, it's, I've noticed it, that it's just more likely to channel. So I'd rather just get a regular temp, keep it consistent, like we've always done, right? Back to the basics. Okay, we drop the puck screen. Let me see. Yeah, that seems to be perfectly leveled. Looks just fine. You see? Yeah, it looks pretty nice and level. All right, let's lock in. Let's run it. Let's run it. Why not? I've been remembering like every time now. It has become part of my regular workflow. Okay, let me set up the cameras and pull a shot. All right, so I should have all the cameras running here and we are ready. So now I had to turn off the automatic espresso function on the Akaya, because if you do a blooming espresso, you're gonna stop the flow. You're gonna see in a second. And I hope I get it right, because I haven't done one of these shots for the longest time. But one thing is, you cannot turn off the pump, okay? So if you turn off the pump, the puck will become loose in the basket, and then you get channeling around the edges, so you cannot turn off the pump. If you have a flow control machine like the Bianca, you can just close the paddle, the pressure stays there, and well, you'll see. So basically, okay, since I always use I already messed up, because since I always use the automatic espresso function, right? I don't have to hit tear or anything, it tears by itself. So here's the plan. I'm gonna start the shot and I'm gonna look for 1 gram out. As soon as I have 1 gram out, I'm gonna close the paddle and let it bloom. The blooming is gonna go for like maybe 25 seconds. So once this reads 25 seconds, then I can start the timing on the scale and brew the shot for like another 25 to 30 more seconds. So as you could see, it ends up being something like a Slayer shot, except that on the Slayer shot, you keep the flow going and you want to get like about 2 grams out in your first 25 seconds and then go for like another 25, 30 more seconds at 9 bar. So it's kind of like the same kind of idea. I don't see why this would be better than the other one. And in my experience, I have tried both and the end result is roughly the same. But today we'll try the blooming, and I haven't done it in so long that we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so right now everything's getting full of water. Water's already on top of the coffee. There's no pressure because this is not full yet. But now at around 9 seconds, it fills up. Oh, and look, now the coffee's too fine. Okay, so well, we're getting something. So now I'm gonna stop it there. I want like about 1 gram out. Wow, it's still, okay, like, again, I haven't tried this in so long. So I did about a 30-second bloom, but I got too much coffee out. I have to practice this more. It's still, you know, roughly the right idea. Now we go to 9 bar. I'm just gonna leave it there. We look for 45 grams out. Oh, I forgot to start the timing. I'm just not used to that, man. Well, that's why I need to practice. All right, and I stopped it a little early. So we have 41.5 roughly grams out, 55 seconds overall. I bloomed for almost 30 seconds. So my shot time is what, like 25? Yeah, it's like half and half. So this would have been reading now, if I would have started it properly, it would be reading somewhere around maybe 28, 30 seconds, something like that, right? So roughly, is this in the right parameters? Although I messed up, I have to continue practicing. Okay, stop one of the cameras. Let me get the scale out of the way. So, although I did this properly, I did it correctly, the only thing I forgot was to start the timing on the Akaya. I'm just not used to it. It always starts by itself. I love doing that automatic espresso function. And today it would have worked. That automatic espresso function would have worked because when you bloom it, nothing's supposed to keep coming out. It's just supposed to stop. There's supposed to be no flow pretty much, But it kept dripping. That's the part that I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look at some blooming espresso videos, see if I did that correctly. I think I did. Okay, so give it a stir. Cheers. Wow, a lot of depth of flavor. Another coffee with just, man, all these coffees have been so good. I can really get the tasting notes. I can really taste them when the coffee is like this, but for me, the acidity right now is a little bit too high. The Slayer shots have been better than this. Today's shot is not quite as good, in my opinion. For those of you that value the higher acidity and brightness in the coffee, then you would like this better. So, but yeah, no, for me, from the shots that I've tried of this coffee, this might be the one that I've liked the least, to tell the truth. And again, because the acidity is a bit high for me, although it helps with getting the flavors. The coffee is very juicy. Let me see, let me try. Yeah, I think this is the one with a little bit like, the acidity is a little bit different than, than some other coffees. The sweetness is not there today. Not like the other times that I've brewed it with the Slayer shots. It's been better. It's been sweeter. But I am getting like that juiciness. I am getting that kind of acidity that's not quite the same like you get from most coffees, where you're gonna get like the berry tartness, or you get maybe like citrus notes. This is something a little bit different. But yeah, not as sweet as the other times I've had it. Let's take a look at the tasting notes. I don't even remember everything. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okay, let me put this up here. Can you guys see that? Yeah, I think you could see that. So let's see, expect notes of cherry. Yeah, this is the one that has the acidity is just a little bit different. Oh, dates, that's right, dates. I'm definitely not getting dates today, okay? There's just not enough sweetness. All the other times I've said maybe the sugar note, just very sweet coffee. This time it's not all there. Even the milk chocolate, Yeah, acidity is a bit high for my taste today. So wow, something to say about them Slayer shots. Definitely better than the Blooming, at least today. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't, you guys tell me, but I think this is how it goes. I just forgot to start the scale and the timing was roughly, should have been just spot on. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know. I'm gonna keep practicing. I wanna do a few more of these type of shots before I try. I don't even think, man, that Anton's profile is so intricate that I don't think I'm gonna even be able to replicate that, but we'll see. We'll see. So Anaerobic Natural from Manhattan. This is a great coffee. It is a great coffee. You know what? Let's put some water. Let's fill this little cup up to the top. It looks like it'll be a little bit more than half and half. More water than espresso. All right, so now it's like a little tiny Americano. Maybe now the acidity will be a lot more welcomed and a lot more of my liking, because right now it's just too high. And as filtered coffee, this coffee hasn't had very much acidity at all. But that espresso really gets that extraction out, you know? So maybe as an Americano, it's better than what I've had from it as far as filtered. So let's let it cool down a second. Let me set up the camera back on the counter and wrap this video up. All right, in a second, I will taste that it's still too hot. And yeah, today I was hoping to tell you guys the story as to the best cookies in the world. Man, I keep running like these these recording sessions keep getting lengthy on me, and I haven't gotten around to doing that. I can't wait to start doing the lives, because in a live, since I don't have to edit anything, we can just talk for longer and it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna have to spend hours to edit those videos. They're just gonna go up live and that's it. If I said it right, fine. If I said it wrong, whatever. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter. You guys can always correct me there on the comments if you're there, or ask me questions, and yeah, hopefully I can keep it somewhat coherent. But anyway, I did mean to tell you guys the story as to the best cookies in the world. That was part of one of the things that I wanted to look into in our visit to Amsterdam. I know that some of you guys have joked around as to like, oh yeah, the special cookies in Amsterdam. You know, coffee shop in Amsterdam might not be exactly like what you would expect as a coffee shop. So Amsterdam is a very free kind of environment where a lot of things are allowed that maybe in certain countries or certain areas of the world they probably wouldn't be allowed. So it's just a lot of freedom. You know, I did not see any issues or any problems or anything wrong, or you know, it's just everybody was having fun, and it was great. It was wonderful. So, but yeah, a lot of things are allowed. If you know the kind of cookies that you guys were mentioning, I did not try any of those kind of special cookies. I had actual sugar, you know, type of chocolate cookies like you would expect, normal cookies. Anyway, let's just talk about the cookies. So I did go to 2 places for the cookies, and maybe a next video I'll include that and we'll talk about the cookies. They were just regular cookies, guys. They were not special cookies. They're just regular cookies. You guys know that to me, the best cookies in the world are Gideon's cookies, but again, I haven't tried all the cookies. So one of the things I wanted to do in Amsterdam was to go try these special cookies. They're regular cookies, but they were special in the meaning the very good tasting cookies. So, and I did. I went to 2 places. We'll talk about it on the next video. Wow, I just blabbed on there for forever. All right, let me taste this. Yeah, as an Americano, obviously this is better for me, because I already said that today's espresso had too much acidity. I could really taste the flavors. I like that aspect of it. And every time I pull these faster shots, or that they don't extract more. Sometimes the flavors, like the notes, are easier to pick out and some of these flavors come through better, but then you lose out on so much sweetness. This coffee, the other shots that I've pulled have been way better. I mean, they've been spectacular. This one today, just the acidity is too high. But now as an Americano, it's just right. Yeah, it's still a little bit strong for an Americano. It could be a little bit more diluted, but this is just about right. It's just about right. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna finish enjoying that in a second, but I really gotta let you guys go. This has gone on for way too long. What a brew session today. So, so the Blackberry fields from DAK. Will it be better than the Cocoa Bongo? I don't know. I'll probably do a head-to-head comparison and let you guys know. The two Manhattan coffees, I've talked about it already several times. This one to me was better for espresso. The Ivan Solis was better for filter coffee. But you know, who knows what you guys would think. The two Kenyan coffees were equally wonderful. The two Kenyan coffees, whether you get the Hinterhoff or you get the fried hats, either one of those two coffees can compete with anything you see here. And as a matter of fact, it might beat this, which is by far the most exotic and expensive coffee that I've had here on the channel. So, you know, everybody has their tastes that they enjoy, and everyone's a little bit gonna pick something a little bit different. So, but yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. One more little taste before we go. Okay, now the temperature is just right. The sweetness level, well, it's way better balanced now because it has way less acidity because I watered it down. So way less intensity. Now, as an Americano, it has just enough acidity to still be interesting, but balanced with the sweetness. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna finish enjoying that in a second, and I'm gonna let you guys go here. Please remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.